Yo, yo, yo. So today I would love to explore the topic of, well, this is a message, if you will, from the machine elves and the Pleiades. And, so the message that I kind of got from the machine elves was love doesn't care. Now, the machine elves, I feel, it's almost like they are pure creation themselves. They are pure mental energy. And, when you think about love, if you think about the true essence of love, it doesn't judge, it doesn't evaluate, it doesn't bind itself into anything or anyone. When you think about universal love, this is why the machine elves appear to be very unemotional. In fact, they are. Like, they care a lot. They embody the unconditional love. That's often the very simple messages that they give people is about the unconditional love, but the delivery is very unemotional. It doesn't bind itself to good and bad, who deserves this, who deserves that. It just is, I have had experiences with the machine elves, and there's a couple of them, but even this doesn't have to do so much with the love, but I just thought I would share this experience. So I was about like a year ago, I was traveling around Europe and whatnot, and in one place that we stopped, there's this like huge shopping outlet village that has like different brand stores, high-end stores and whatnot, and it's like just purely built for that purpose. Now, once we entered to the village, I got this overwhelming feeling of anxiety. It was almost like I could see, the forces that be the big man on top, just like planning to get people addicted to this constant cycle of, valuing stuff, just valuing items. You could see, a lot of the people that, shop there, there's a lot of, I could clearly see through the superficiality of certain, people. Obviously, we all have superficial aspects within ourselves, but there were, and this is not to dismiss anyone, because what I'm about to say can sound a little dismissive, but there were a lot of people who, let's say, had gone under the knife to, alter their appearance. And what really struck me, it was not for themselves, but let's say for female perspective, purely to appear desirable for the male. I could see the males being, dressed in with these designer clothes and having watches that were, I assume like thousands and thousands of dollars to appear more appealing to the females. It was so disturbing. Not that you can't have these feelings otherwise, but it was like this wave of anxiety. I could just hear the credit cards kind of going cha-ching, cha-ching, and for what? And all this waste, that just comes from that. It was very weird experience. I could see, couples walking by, and people kind of checking each other out, men that had partners checking other women out, just females checking each other's out, evaluating, just buying more stuff, and just the whole place, just that whole village that was built just purely for consumerism. I just needed to get out of there, like, quickly. Now, as soon as we get back into the van, no time to explain, hop in the van. As soon as we got back into the van, I opened my phone, and the first video that popped on YouTube was a message from the machine elves. And that message indeed talked about this sort of attachment that we have for things, how we value the outer appearance and do not pay attention to the inside. Now, this is not to bash material things, because I like aesthetic things. I like stuff, trust me, I love to shop. But it just, like, there's no balance there. It was quite interesting, But specifically in this video, the message that the machine elves, gave was a message of love doesn't care. And one experience also that I had with the machine elves, I've had plenty, but the machine elves are so interesting. They really are fascinating. But I had an argument with someone, and it was quite disturbing argument. And, it kind of, made me feel very low vibrational. And all of a sudden, I had this vision, this out-of-body experience, where I was being taken to that specific event. I was watching the argument taking place from almost like I was watching a film from an outsider perspective. And I could see myself through almost like a third person type of perspective. I could feel how the other person felt during that argument. And I could kind of see my own shadow clearly as I was arguing. And I knew that it was the machine elves that kind of took me there, And obviously that message also was about, ego and probably attachment and unconditional love, like what truly matters. So now, because when we talk about ego, now this is where the Pleiades come to play as well. So now this is sort of like current energies that the world is going through right now. I feel like for the past perhaps year or months, we have kind of collectively been on this dark night of the soul sort of energy, where collectively we have felt a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, resentment, a lot of shadows have come to the surface. And, because in the spiritual community, there's a lot of pressure to appear egoless. We think a lot about the purpose of ego. It's like, almost like we are expected to go through an ego death in order to be spiritual, which, plays a part. It is what it is, but it's not what it is completely, because the ego perhaps serves a purpose on the physical world, on this physical world, so you can play the game of life, because we are all part of just oneness. We are all just, oneness. But the oneness itself doesn't perhaps realize that indeed it is oneness, because it just is. So in order for the oneness, in order, let's say, for the God oneness to experience what it actually feels like to be oneness, to be love, in order for the God, the oneness, to feel it, it would have to create us individually, so that we can feel and discover how oneness actually feels. So this is where the ego, comes into play, because the ego is not real in the metaphysical, in the esoteric world. It doesn't exist in the realm of, oneness. But the ego allows for the individual experience, because in actuality you are part of everything. We talk about, there's this term, secret chief, and and the master of the temple. And so in this belief, this is kind of like this being explained in a nutshell, but like the brief explanation of this. But when you die, your essence, your being kind of evaporates into everything and everybody that has ever existed, will exist, that is. And that includes nature also. That includes the rocks, the trees, water, and every single person that will ever be, or will be. So this is how, kind of like how past lives come about, and so on. Now this is a very brief explanation of that, but just so I can sort of get this message across. So, like I said, the oneness thus is not aware that it's part of the all, because it just is. And your awakening experience even allows you the experience of being part of the all, and simultaneously have an individual experience. It allows you to play this game of life. Indeed, it is a game that the oneness wants to participate, because it wants to experience how it actually feels to be the oneness. So this is why awareness is the key, because once you get spiritually awakened, it's almost like you start to wanna be less of a human being. It can kind of make you, in a weird inverted way, start to devalue your race as a human being, and you want to be more like a light worker, a star seed. You want to connect more to your Syrian side, your Pleiadian side, your Lyran side, your Arcturian side, your Vega side, your Nibiru side, whatever it is, but you forget the near purpose that we came here to play this game of life so that we can actually experience the oneness. There's so much value of being an actual human being. Our race as just human beings is as valuable as all these sides of us that are, star seeds, light workers, way showers. But the point here is to experience the human side, so you know that you are oneness. Because like I said, the oneness doesn't know. It knows, but it doesn't experience it because it just is. Love doesn't care, it's unemotional. Oneness is unemotional, it just is. It's pure existence, but it's not experiencing. So there's so much value in being a human being. There's so much value in all the emotions that you go through, all the experiences that, you either love or hate or whatever, but it's all taking you step by step closer to understanding oneness, closer to understanding love, So like I was saying, for the past perhaps year, months, we have been in this sort of dark night of the soul phase. Obviously, there's been good parts of it as well. But right now, the world has shifted. They talk about the Great Awakening, the timeline shift. And some people even say that the world has started over. And how I got this message from the Pleiades, it's almost like if you think about time as something you can kind of measure, the scales of time have been imbalanced because time indeed has been manipulated by those forces that know how time actually works, that know that time is not linear. They have shifted different events, they have manipulated time so that the world has been in chaos. But the scales of time have now been balanced. It's almost like the timeline is now in an alignment. We are now in sort of like in the pure river of time, like the stars are aligned, which you could interpret in a way that the world has gone through like a reset. Did I just spit again? Like the world has gone through like a reset button and it's now in alignment. And this allows you to incorporate yourself more to your past, present, and future self. It's now in alignment. You don't feel as lost anymore because all these different fragments of you, everybody is you pushed out, but you yourself are yourself pushed out into different timelines and parallel universes. And, the past, present, and the future, your higher self, which people call your future selves. Now, it's easier to connect with all these different parts of yourself are now meeting in the middle, kind of meeting in the crossroads. They are not so far apart from each other anymore, but indeed they are in an in an alignment. And now this is also good news for twin flames. If you happen to be a twin flame soul, which I believe we are all twin flames, but for some of us it happens in this lifetime and so on and so on. But those of you who know that you are twin flames, whether you are twin flame in a relationship with your twin flame, marriage, whether you are in a separation with your twin flame, or you know that you are on the path, you are now experiencing your twin flame journey, but you haven't met your twin flames, this is good news, because this is, this is good news for the twin flames. That's all I'm gonna say, because I myself am a twin flame, and I've been on this journey for, well, obviously all my life. But this path was opened for me, like I would say 3 years ago, perhaps. I discovered this, and it's been the craziest ride of my life, and I'm sometimes like hesitant to talk about it, because I went through a little bit of a twin flame obsession, because also I'm a witch, and I'm also a clairvoyant, and I'm a channeler. So it just got quite overwhelming, and I realized how important in your twin flame journey it is to let it go. You can't hold on to it. You really need to let it go in order for that to flow to you. That's a journey you can't control, But maybe I will do a video about twin flames someday. But I'm letting this path, unfold for me as well. Because, I'm going to tell you, it's not, well, I was about to say it's not easy to be a twin flame witch, but it's interesting. I value this. Thank you for my twin flame. So now it's easier for you to approach subjects like, let's say, shadow work, and all these emotions are becoming much more easier to digest. Everything is becoming more flowy, more softer, and like I was talking even previously in my Arcturian videos, it's very possible that you experience much more in the dream world. Time may start to feel like it starts to feel less linear to you. Like you start to experience these kind of glitches in the matrix, like deja vus. You might experience that, I was certain it's Friday, but it actually is Monday, or, all these things. Or you might be triggered by different sounds and smells, or imagery, or just people you see on the street, or documentaries about your past life, and like really connect to it. Because like I was saying, all these different parts of yourselves are now kind of in alignment. They are coming together. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that you won't experience certain things that may feel uncomfortable, as this world has come into this new timeline that is much softer, much more beautiful, much more in alignment with the oneness. You could say this is the new Atlantis or new Lemuria. Because like I was saying, the very experience of us being human beings, it's valuable. That's the point. The point is to play this game of life so you can experience oneness, so you can experience unconditional love. So if you are, a spiritual person, don't underestimate your human being part of yourself. Yes, it's great and it's purposeful also to be all these things. Like, it's purposeful to experience yourself without the ego. It's purposeful to, and it's part of this journey. And it's purposeful to be a starseed, light worker, way shower, all these things. But the value is as big in just you being a human being. Love doesn't care, it just is. So that's really it. That's the machine elf Pleiadian message that I have for you guys. And you know, to each and every one of you, I wish unconditional love, peace, live long and prosper, know thyself, oneness, and namaste. Bye.